What's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition MC that writes fiction, and right now we're going to do a review of the new Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma. And for those that don't know what The Social Dilemma is, it's this new, the initial release, it looks like, was January 26th of this year. And what it is tech experts sound the alarm on the dangerous human impact of social networking. Now, what's interesting about this is, let me go to the actual website itself. So the socialdilemma.com. And so the film itself is, it says discover what's hiding on the other side of your screen. We tweet, we like, we share, but what are the consequences of our growing dependence on social media? And so this documentary drama hybrid reveals how social media is reprogramming civilization, with tech experts sounding an alarm on their own creation. So what they mean by sounding an alarm on their own creations, you have people like the guy who created the Facebook like button. You have growth experts on how they were able to grow Facebook as quick as they were able to grow it. You have the guy who is who was part co-founder of Pinterest on there. All of these different platforms, they have the behind the scenes, and in the middle of it, what I thought was so dope was they had this kind of like mini movie that was kind of following the trail of this family who is impacted as far as by the social media. First time looking through it, I want to do a super breakdown of it, but just the first time looking through it, it confirmed a lot of my own personal thoughts. The one thing that I find very chilling about social media, how much time is being spent, and the fact that their whole sole purpose on all of these platforms is to keep you on longer. The scary part is you can be sitting up there with the feed of things that support your arguments, that support your beliefs, that support your lifestyle, and somebody right next to you can have the complete opposite in a whole different world, in a world where all of their beliefs and everything that they you know, everything that they look into in their lifestyle and what their political views are, there's something on that supports everything that they believe in. So they're in this constant world where they're being reinforced. And it's crazy because I watched this documentary, and then but not and then in combination, I've been reading this book called Atomic Habits for the last few weeks. Right now I'm towards the end, chapter 17, and when they were talking about like the positive reinforcements, and when they were talking about the psychology on why these social media platforms are the way that they are, this book is talking about the same thing when it comes to forming and breaking habits. You know, anything from like the positive reinforcement, and when you post something and you get, comments, likes, everything like that, you're going to want to stay on the platform longer. Or if you're watching something and you see something similar right away, you kind of go ahead on to the next thing without even constantly thinking about it, because it's easier to go along with it than it is to actually exit out. It was talking about in this book how it's, you're set with two choices. You're set with two choices, and are the way that the human mind works is that naturally it's going to go with the choice that requires less work. So now we have these platforms that make it harder for you to just to get out. You know, even when it comes to, ironically, Netflix, you know, the fact that it's harder for you to exit out than it is for you to just allow it to continue going causes for these binge watching that goes on, you know. So looking at it, I got so many correlations between the social dilemma and the book Atomic Habits, and then with how much control these platforms are. I actually wrote a book back in 2017. That's when I released it. I wrote it back in 2015, released it 2017, and it's called Ideas of Illusion. Now, this is a fiction book that takes place in the year 2025, but everything that's going on currently, I'm like, whoa, there's so many correlations that are going on right now to what's happening in the book that it's crazy. And this documentary itself, and this isn't a plug, it's just showing you the way that my thinking was when it came to this documentary. You know, it's one of those things where it's crazy because it says the initial release was January of 2020, but it had stuff about COVID in it. And as far as on the news, everything like that. So I don't know if it was updated or something with that, because even that's weird. But you know, they talk about the influence. What, you know, they even brought up Russia, and it was just all like, what Russia was doing wasn't even hacking. They were just using what the Facebook platform allowed for them to be able to use. So these tools that we have, you know, that's supposed to be used to keep us connected, you know, is keeping us addicted. And there's nothing that's been shown to us as far as how to properly deal with something like this, because this is so brand new. This is so brand new. And you know, it's just very, it's a, I personally would check it out. I really would. And then I'll start asking yourself, because I was bringing this up to my friend. I was just like, you know, it's interesting because when we were little, or in middle school or high school and different things like that, the times that we were able to be social was set by time constraints. You know, either you had to be back in before it was dark, or the mall closed at a certain time, or the skate park, or, you know, a park at, you know, place or whatever. There were time constraints that prevented us from spending an unlimited amount of time being social with each other, you know. And the fact that when we're online, we don't have any type of, you know, filter unless we're taught about it. So, you know, the, to me personally, when I think about the cure for the social dilemma, you know, I think it's education with how these things affect us and why it is very important to limit your use on it, and understand that, you know, what's happening when you get something suggested to you. You know, I think that another cure for the social dilemma would be, you know, for one, really allowing for more of those conversations to be had. You know, what is going to be if there's all of these different beliefs under one roof? Is there a such thing as a universal truth? Because with something like social media, there isn't. They were breaking down how fake news travels 6 times more faster than the truth. And if you remember what I was saying about as far as the two choices, naturally we're going to gravitate towards the thing that requires the least amount of work. So if fake news and misinformation is being given at a rate 6 more times than the truth, it's more work to have to look for the truth. That is where this issue comes into play. Not saying that people don't. I'm one of those people that likes to research, but on average, you see how that can be a problem. So, hey, check out The Social Dilemma, the documentary. I personally think it's fire. And, if you like this video, you want to see more like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, turn on notifications. If you like my shirt, this is link in the description. This is my company, Dab Troll Creations. Also, you can get CBD products and my book, Ideas of Illusion, if you're curious on, how things correlate from my book to right now. You can go ahead and order that as well. But again, this is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. Go ahead and leave a comment. What are your thoughts on social media? How often are you on social media, and what social media platforms do you use? Go ahead and leave a comment there. Again, this is Mr. Composition that writes fiction. Peace.